let's talk about the associative property. Now, the word associative comes from the word associate. Who you associate in your life is who you hang out with or who you're grouped with. So in math, we're going to have numbers associate together or being grouped together with grouping symbols like parentheses. Now, the associative property says that there are certain operations, either add, subtract, multiply, or divide, in which you can change who is grouped together and you will still get the same result. So let's do a quick experiment here and just test out the numbers to see which operations that's true for. So let's start with adding. Okay, I'm going to do 2 plus 5 plus 7, and I'm going to group the 5 with the 7. In a minute, I'm going to do this. 2 plus 5 plus 7, but this time I'll group the 5 with the 2. And we'll compare them and see what happens. So you know how to simplify expressions. You know about old friend PEMDAS, our dear Aunt Sally, right? PEMDAS says you've got to simplify anything inside of parentheses or grouping symbols before you can do exponents, multiplying, dividing, or adding, subtracting. So let's find parentheses first. There they are. Okay, 5 plus 7, what is it? 12. What is 2 plus 12? 14. Okay, next problem. Again, we're going to find the parentheses and start there. 2 plus 5 is 7. 7 plus 7 is 14. Okay, so I want you to notice that even though we changed who was grouped together, look, the result was the same. 14 and 14. So that means that the associative property is true for addition. Let's check out subtraction and see if it's still true. Okay, let me use the same numbers. 2 minus, I'll go a little different order. I'll put the 7 there. Minus 7 minus 5, and 2 minus 7 minus 5. Okay, I'll do the same thing. I'll start by grouping 7 and 5. And then I'll check if we get the same thing when we group the 7 with the 2. Okay, what is 7 minus 5? Again, I'm starting in parentheses first. Always, always. 7 minus 5 is what? 2. And what's 2 minus 2? 0. Okay, next problem. Find the parentheses. All right, 2 minus 7. If I start with only 2 and I take away 7, I know that's taking away more than I have. I'm going to get into the negatives by 5. Bring down the minus 5. Negative 5 minus 5 gives us negative 10. Okay. Did we get the same result when we moved parentheses around subtraction? No, we did not. We got 0 the first time, negative 10 the second time. So that means that the associative property does not work for subtraction. You cannot move parentheses around subtraction signs and get the same result. Okay, now let's check multiply. Okay, let's try these numbers. 3 times 4, oops, times 2. This time I'll start by grouping the front, and then I'll do 3 times 4 times 2. If I change who's grouped together, think about what would need to be in parentheses this time. Yep, 4 and 2 must be together. Okay, so let's check this out. Start with the parentheses. What is 3 times 4? 12. 12 times 2? 24. Okay, next problem. Start with the parentheses back here. 4 times 2. 8. 3 times 8? 24. I got 24 and I got 24. So that tells us that the associative property does work for multiplication. You can move parentheses around multiplying and you get the same result. It does not affect what gets done. All right, we have one more operation to check, and that's division. Okay, so let me try this. 100 divided by 20 divided by 5. Okay, so it doesn't matter which ones we start with. Maybe I'll just do 20 and 5 together here. And of course, if 20 is grouped with 5 and we want to change who 20 is grouped with, 20 is no longer hanging out with 5. He's now hanging out with 100. Poor 5's out there all alone. Poor thing. All right, so let's do the math here and see what we get. Start in the parentheses first. 20 divided by 5 is 4. 100 divided by 4 is 25. Okay, let's check the next one. 100 divided by 20 is 5. 5 divided by 5? 1. Did we get the same result this time when we moved the parentheses? No, we didn't. So we got 25 once and 1 the second time. So that means that the associative property is not true for division. It's not true for division. You cannot move the parentheses when you're dividing things and get the same result. It changes what happens. So the associative property is true for addition and multiplication.